Welcome to Let's Talk About It Sunday, an extension of KELA's weekday local talk show featuring a variety of subjects of local interest. This program was pre-recorded, so we're unable to take live calls on today's show. And now, let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Let's Talk About It show. I'm your host, Peter Abbarno, right here on AM 1470 KELA and 104.3 KMNT. June is National Camping Month, and that's such a great time for families to get together, get in the outdoors, get off your tablets, get off your phones, throw down that Wi-Fi, and maybe pick up Scrabble or Uno and just hang out around the campfire and be a family. You know, after COVID, that has become more and more important that people get outdoors, spend time as a family, and I found something a number of years ago, a business that will help equip your vehicle for camping and getting in the outdoors and just kind of adventuring. You know, a lot of my family doesn't really want to be on the tent on the ground, and some people do. I don't mind it, but others want to actually get on top of the car and have a tent pop up like the iCampers. Well, with me today, Sam Magnuson with NOMAD Truck and SUV right here in Centralia Chehalis is going to talk about what they can do to help equip your car. We're going to talk about how great it is to get in the outdoors and how you can maybe style up your vehicle and get it ready for this June and maybe for future years for camping in the outdoors and having a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about what I do with my family. Sam's going to talk about what she does and what her business does. So stay tuned to a great show with Samantha Magnuson with NOMAD Truck and SUV. And this is June National Camping Month. So welcome, Sam. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Peter. How are you today?
I'm great because this past weekend, the first weekend in June, my family, we pull the iCamper out of the garage because we store it in the winter when we're not camping, though you can leave it on all year round. Mm-hmm. But we just equipped my Jeep Gladiator in getting ready to get out in the outdoors.
Good for you. I will say mine stays on all year, so I look a little ridiculous driving around because certainly I'm not popping up that rooftop tent in December, but it kind of goes with the truck, so I just leave mine on.
Well, it is not just useful, but it looks cool. So you can leave it all year long.
It does.
So let's talk a little bit about NOMAD. So tell me, how did you get involved with NOMAD? Because I know previously it was Line-X. You had Line-X for a long time, and now you have NOMAD, and you've really expanded all the amazing things that your business does.
Yeah, so Twin Cities Line-X, as people knew it from, has been in town since 2001. So we're going on our 23rd year this year. And you're right, 7, I think, years ago now, we rebranded to NOMAD Truck and SUV Outfitters. And a big reason of that was we didn't just do coatings anymore. We had expanded well beyond just the spray on bed liner or the protective coatings to all of the other things we offer. And a big part of that, the Outfitters name or part of the name, is to really show people that we can help take your vehicle that drives you to and from work every day, to and from the kids' soccer game, and turn it into something more that you can take on the weekends to go camping or on a big giant road trip across the country. So we rebranded so that people stopped walking in the front door and saying, wow, I didn't know you did all these things.
Yeah.
That phrase killed me after this many years.
Well, and it really is amazing. I mean, people talk about getting outdoors and doing all these, activities in the overnight camping, and they don't realize that camping has really evolved from merely going to a store and buying a tent and maybe buying some camp gear. Now it's become so much even easier, and the outdoors, maybe the more remote areas, are more accessible because of places like your NOMAD.
Absolutely, because you can take your four-wheel drive vehicle, right, your Gladiator, my Raptor, an all-wheel drive Subaru, and you can head up in the Gifford and find a turnout and pop up your tent. And how long does it take you to pop up that iCamper when you guys go to crawl in it at night?
Probably 2 minutes.
Right?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to put together a tent with all those little bars that you fit together as a kid and you had to hoop it up? I don't even know how to describe that tent. All I know is I hated doing it.
Yeah, and the tent, what's really cool with the iCamper and a lot of these tents is that it takes a minute or two to put up, and the ladder comes down and it opens up into a king-size bed with a pad. It's huge. It's got a skylight. It's got a rain cover. I mean, it really only takes seconds.
You can add an awning and make a complete enclosure almost, right? So if you are camping in Washington, which we are, and it's sometimes raining like it is, lately, you stake dry, you keep shoes dry, you keep all your gear in that one area. So it's amazing what you can do. And we can help you not just with that, but we can take you into, we also have a Sprinter van people might have seen running around town that's got ghosted NOMAD Outfitter on it, right? And it's got cooking abilities. It's got a compostable toilet. It's a queen size bed. It is like home away from home on wheels, and it can take you anywhere.
And really, what we found is for the convenience and actually the price, you save money doing it this way and having it year after year after year. But let's start a little bit, since we kind of jumped into the iCamper and where you sleep. Talk about some of the different options, because I know iCamper is not the only place or type of, rooftop bed you could have. There's also soft shell, hard shell. There's a lot of different options. So Can you talk about those first?
Yeah, there are so many options, and they really cover all of the budget price points, right? So like you said, a soft tent is a much more budget conscious option. People are probably familiar with seeing them kind of rolled up with a canvas case on top, right? You'll see them on Subarus a lot. They don't weigh as much. So for like you and I, we've got larger vehicles that can take the weight of the tent plus the weight of the humans once they crawl in at night, or the dogs in my case, right? Humans and dogs. But those soft ones are a lot lighter, so they don't add as much weight to your vehicle if you're going to leave it on all the time. They have better clearance in some cases if you're in a smaller garage space. So we have all of the choices. I mean, to list them would be endless, right? But you've got Roof Nest, you've got OVS, you've got iCamper, which you and I happen to both have.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on and on. Those are the ones I got right now.
Yeah, and there's the big one too. Like iCamper, even if you didn't want the king size one, you can get the actually smaller one for a smaller vehicle. So there's a lot of different options for it.
Yeah, you really choose based on what vehicles it's going on. What do you want the footprint to look like on the back of that vehicle, for example? And then how many people do you want to sleep? So are you trying to sleep 2? Do you need to sleep 4? In my case, it's 2 plus a couple of dogs. So it really is more like 3-4 adults, but then the dogs spread out, even though they're small dogs. So all of the choices really are available, and they mount depending on what racking system you have, right? Like mine is on a rack system over the bed of my truck, and then under that bed or under that racking system is a cargo slide and a decked unit. So the decked unit's on the base, right? So I have drawers that pull out. I can load them full of gear. I put the generator on the cargo glide. I put totes on the cargo glide, but I can slide them back. I don't have to crawl up in that 2-foot gap and try to get into a tote. I just open that cargo slide and pull it towards me, and I can just reach over the edge and get the cooking out, or the jet boil to make coffee in the morning, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and with some of those the sleeping systems, I mean, I know with the iCamper, at least the one I have, has I think 500 or 600 pounds static. So for me, it was me, my wife, and our kids, who are now 11 and 12, going to be 13. So they're starting to age out a little bit because they don't want to sleep up there. But for the last 4 or 5 years, that's what they've wanted to do. They've wanted to crawl up, and you can sleep all 4 people actually pretty comfortably on such a big spot.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can put in them. And it really is just amazing. So if you haven't had a chance to check them out, right, coming by, my truck is often around the store, so you can check that one out, pop it up, crawl in. I remember when we put yours on, and the first thing I think your wife picked it up. You weren't around, and I made the kids crawl up in it, and I have the cutest picture of the kids leaning on their hands, right, on their elbows, out the little window of your iCamper. So
I mean, they love it up there, and they have a lot of fun, and they didn't really know, and I don't even think my wife knew what to expect when we got it, and they were all, I knew to be, I wasn't surprised, I knew I would like it, but they were pleasantly surprised how quick, easy, and fun that adventure is, because you just load up the back and you're on your adventure.
Right. Well, and Holly talks about doing it without you, right? There's times where she takes them to a softball game, and it's a good place to take a nap or something, and they can go, and it doesn't require it. There's no tools. It's super simple, right? A couple times of popping it up and down, and you're an expert.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times if you're going on like a soccer tournament somewhere and other people are going and it's a weekend tournament, you're not going to spend $300 a night on a hotel room. So $3,000, $6,000, $9,000 in a hotel. You can spend $50 a night, rent a spot for camping, and go with a bunch of people. Just pop it up and you're camping.
It's really convenient.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. If you're just tuning in, this is the Let's Talk About It show Sunday. I'm your host, Peter Abbarno. Samantha Magnuson with NOMAD Trucking and SUV is with me, because June is National Camping Month. So we're talking all about well, camping and spending time with your family. And if you don't have a passion for camping and you want a passion, it's not going to be real hard. You can swing by NOMAD on Kresge Avenue and check it out. And you could also go to their website, nomadtruckandsuv.com, see what their offerings are, but go in and talk to them because you can bring your vehicle in. They can look at what's going to work best for you. But I can tell you, spending time with your family is priceless. Spending time with your family without a iPad or a cell phone or something that's just going to distract them, really that quality of time is even worth so much more than that. And we have found a lot of great relationship building with our family, especially as the kids get older, going on this camping. And I give a lot of credit. I know Samantha will probably blush when I say this, but I give a lot of credit to her for suggesting iCampers and suggesting this because it really has worked out for our family and the adventures we want to take. Let's talk about, so you get a sleeping system, it goes up top, and then you can buy a lot of different types of, what would you call them, that you rested on? Like
the racking systems,
the
tower systems.
Yep.
So those are typically like for you or myself, right, in trucks where we have a bed that they mount in. So there's a tower system, and they can be different heights, different weight capacities, lots of choices. I think yours, for example, sits higher than mine. Mine's meant to try to keep it at cap level, and that was just for a different look than not. The only downfall in mine is there is only about 1 foot between the bottom of that tent and the top of that cargo slide, so I can't fit a lot of stuff in there. I can just fit what I can get. So it's not much of a truck outside of that purpose.
Right.
However, I don't need it for a pickup.
Right.
I have other ones. So that works out just fine. But yeah, you've got all of the choices for mounting. And even in the case of, say, Subarus or 4Runners, where they've got racks from the factory, they mount directly to those. You don't have to have any additional tower system. There's bracketry that mounts either right to your crossbars, or if you have the factory rails but no crossbars, we, of course, provide those too.
Yeah. And I got Go Rhino, the Rhino one, and I really liked it. And one of the things I did was research, what do I want to attach to the sides of it? Like what accessories come with it? Because you're going to want extra gas. Because if you bring a generator, you're going to want some water. You're going to want tracks, or you're going to want some sort of even like kitchen system, that folding tables. Yep. And you can help them figure that out, right? I mean, you walk in and
we have all the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you joke and say that gas on the side of that Go Rhino is for the generator. In our case, it's for when we run out of gas, because we've done it a couple of times. I have a daughter that lives in Boise, and we have a bad habit, that big stretch on the gorge that does not have a lot of fuel, of being busy talking and not paying attention to the gas. So we've used that 1 gallon to get by. But yeah, all the attachments are there. I mean, we can go so far as to, like, a brand we haven't talked about, but we are a platinum level dealer for, is SmartCap. And SmartCap has gone to, they're an actual very, very cool, both kind of overland and commercial modular canopy that has a kitchen system that actually mounts in one whole half. So you open the side windows and out folds a kitchen with propane attachments, a cook stove, right? All the spots for your pepper and your salt and your wine glasses and your percolator for coffee, like everything is right there. And we have customers that either put a sleeping system inside the canopy, or they want storage, so they put a tent on top.
Yeah.
I've had a gentleman that lives in the East End, and he was doing a big rock hounding trip with his adult daughter, and they had 2 months planned across the country, all the way to somewhere like Arkansas. There's a diamond mine that if you find a diamond, you get to keep the diamond, kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool to check out.
I want to figure that one out.
Right?
Right.
And we set it up so she could sleep inside and he could sleep on top on a rooftop tent, and they had the tip-out kitchen and everything.
Oh, that's really, I mean, I mean, if you can dream it, right?
You can probably do it.
You can probably do it. And that's what's so amazing about these types of systems. For me, we looked at something that was a little higher up because we wanted to use the bed of the truck. But as time went by, a couple of years later, we were having issues with storage and keeping it dry because we do live in Washington. And one of the trips we like to do, because it's really accessible, is the 101 loop. And you can go along the beaches. You can camp right there. There's not a lot of Wi-Fi. There's not a lot of cell service,
quiet.
so I really like that. And we went all the way around La Push and Forks, and then hooked around. But the issue we had was things would get wet. So I came to you and said, hey, where can I store some of my gear? Where can I store some of my cooking stuff? And you said, hey, I know about a decked.
You need a decked unit. Yeah.
Yep.
They are probably one of in the last 5 or 7 years in this space, this industry space, the coolest inventions because they hold everything. They work from a commercial standpoint, contractors, we've got surveyors that take them because they have very expensive, very moisture sensitive equipment. So they are secure in there. They've developed them that hold guns and fishing rods, all the outdoorsman type things, right? Where you need your things to be secure, but you need them to be dry. Mine has my chuck it for my dog in the back, right? It has extra dog supplies. And then when we go camping, it has all the camping gear, but it works for kids, right? Nasty, dirty cleats or the softball clothes because you got drenched today, that kind of thing. All of that stuff goes nicely in there. And you can change the dividers. They have different boxes that fit in them now. So if you want a box that is, snacks, let's say, it's a secure box inside of that drawer. So it's extra protected against, say, the weather.
Yeah. And that really comes in handy because a lot of what I think when I talk to people about camping, the two things they mention, one is dirty and it's and kind of the uncomfortable wetness of camping. So this helps a ton with that. And two, uncomfortable sleeping. And quite honestly, the iCamper with the 2-inch pad or whatever and then pillows is actually very comfortable. So
I can give you a cheat because I don't like to be cold. And I mentioned generator underneath mine. We hooked the generator up and put electric blankets in the tent because I didn't want to be cold.
You brought that up to me, and we ended up doing the same thing. So we ended up getting a 30-foot cord, 25-foot cord. We got the generator. I can't remember which one it is, but it's really quiet. Yes. And we just hook it straight up to the
and
blanket.
It's so cozy.
It is.
It's almost not camping, right?
And when you're off grid, you don't care about that very much. I mean, quite honestly, even when you're at a park or like an RV park or a camping park, those generators are really quite quiet.
Very quiet, yes.
And
they burn next to no fuel, super efficient, and they don't weigh anything. So it's like pick it up like a suitcase, drag it away just far enough to keep the noise down, and away you go. But warm and toasty goes a long way when you're asking people to sleep outdoors.
Warm and toasty, that is the new theme. You're listening to Let's Talk About It show on AM 1470 KELA and 104.3 KMNT. I'm your host, Peter Abbarno, and June is National Camping Month, and with me is Sam Magnuson with Nomad Truck and SUV. Make sure you go to nomadtruckandsuv.com. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsors, and we'll be back in just a moment.
You are listening to Let's Talk About It Sunday, an extension of KELA's weekday local talk show. Stay tuned. Let's Talk About It Sunday edition will return in a moment.
Okay, and now back to business.
Listen on the air and online.
KELA.
Let's talk about it. Good morning. You're listening to Let's Talk About It Sunday, an extension of KELA's weekday local talk show. This program was pre-recorded, so no live phone calls on today's show.
All right, we're back with Let's Talk About It show on AM 1470 KELA and 104.3 KMNT. Happy National Camping Month. It's June. And again, Sam Magnuson with Nomad Truck and SUV is here. We're talking about outfitting yourself, outfitting your family, outfitting your truck and vehicle for camping. And we just talked a little bit about, the system in which you can sleep and the system in which you can store your gear. Sam, what are some of your favorite? I mean, I just talked about the 101 loop. To me, that's just so accessible.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of the whole rainforest and that whole area in the Olympic Peninsula. What are some of the really great places that you've done some camping, overlanding, or hiding away?
Hiding away, for sure. Right? I'm with you. I am the turn the cell phone off, or at least I will admit I'm not good about turning it off. So if I find a place where it just doesn't work, then it's turned off for me, right?
Right.
One of my favorite adventure trips is down the 101 to the Redwoods. The Redwoods are just so amazing. Something that it's hard to believe that something grew that big, right? So that's pretty amazing. When we want something close, though, we actually we have a small piece of river property out on the Satsup, and it's only an hour away, but the phone hardly, like one bar if you're in the right spot and you hold it up towards the sky. And we'll take the tent and just go down there, and it's build a fire, watch the river go by, watch whatever. We've got a weasel that lives there, a couple otters, the deers cross the road. You hear, there's a little road noise, but it's just so peaceful, and it's only an hour from home. So for us, sometimes it's the really close places that actually are some of the quietest. I mean, the 101 to the Redwoods is amazing, but it's a few days, so you have to have the time to do it. So I say in Lewis County, especially if you had east and head up into Randall Packwood, there are so many great hikes that are minutes off of 12 that are super accessible to everyone that we're talking to today. And you can find peace and amazing beauty in less than an hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really kind of cool about camping just generally is that it's, especially living in Washington, it's right here.
Yes.
Right? And you can do short-term camping like we just talked. I mean, just going Satsip, you can go to do the 101 loop. You can shoot down to Northern California. Another one, a lot of people locally have places or like to vacation in Phoenix and in Arizona. Yeah. And I can tell you, when you go down there, you don't want to sleep on the ground.
No, because there's creepy crawly things there.
Yeah, and stingy stungers
yes,
there or whatever.
Yes.
So iCampers and staying up top is really important.
It's huge. Yeah. Yeah. And just a safety perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you're with your family. Then they add, I mean, there's so many reasons why I don't like to camp in a tent on the ground, right? The initial get up in the morning and everything feels damp, and then add dust because it's usually in the summer, so dust is out. Now you're dirty. And you don't feel as secure, right? Anybody can wander through. And it could be a creepy crawly thing, or it could be a larger four-legged thing out in the woods that you're not exactly wanting to wake up to in the morning.
Or a creepy two-legged thing.
Yeah, right? That too. Any of them.
And so staying up top, but I think that's a really kind of a cool thing too about having your rig all ready to go is that it only takes a minute or two to undo. And if you're like traveling, say you're doing a 2-day trip to Phoenix or Arizona or New Mexico or the Grand Canyon, you just pretty much pull over wherever you want. I mean, you can do it at a rest stop, or you can in advance just schedule a reservation at any state park, or all these parks kind of allow you to RV or camp.
Absolutely. That's the beauty is, right? You take up no space. It's easy to get in. It's not like going, oh my goodness, we're driving a 40-foot RV and we're towing a Jeep behind it and we got to find a parking spot and the loop's not big enough. That's effort. It's a lot of effort. And like you said, if you're road tripping, convenience is key. So our van is the same way, right? We literally can pull over on the side of the road, put the window screens up, and you don't know we're in there.
Right.
It's so well insulated, almost eerily well insulated. But you're like, okay, this is peace and quiet right here, and take a nap for 4 hours, get back on the road, and head down to the next stop.
And camping is becoming so popular that there's a couple sites now that are like VRBOs. I think High Camp is one of them.
Yep.
That when we went to the 101 Loop, High Camp is a website where people who own property, acres, what they do is they kind of get it ready and they have little camp spots that are secluded and you can just rent it. And we stayed on a lavender farm that had bees and honey, a honey store. And it was just amazing. And we pulled in 1 or 2 minutes, got the camping going, made dinner, got, fish and seafood because we were up in the peninsula and, hung some little lights around it and kids just had a blast.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Harvest Host?
No, what's that?
It's a similar one to that. They're usually on kind of agritourism inspired. So farms that have got a little place they can make an RV spot or like a lavender farm. Yeah. And most of them, I think you pay to be a member, but you don't pay the actual farm that you're staying on. The hope is that they've got, say, a farm shop or an honor system with some flowers or some honey or something, and that you would, make a purchase while you're there, and that helps. I don't exactly know all the back end side of it, but we've used that one a couple times. And you find some of the coolest places to stay that you just do not find in a typical Google search.
Yeah, so we stayed one time at a place. It was way up in the Olympic Peninsula, as far as north as you can go. And in the middle of this forest, this husband and wife had created this. Each camp spot was really cool and secluded, but they had a center area where they had like this old wood saunas.
Oh,
and you can rent time in the sauna, and it was just like in the middle of nowhere.
I have to get that from you. That sounds awesome.
It really is amazing. It really opens your mind and your eyes to kind of camping in a new way. So that's why, I think as we go into June and National Camping Month, don't look at camping as the old just putting a tent together with the sticks and
whatever
the wires.
They call those sticks, right?
But think about what you can do to really create this whole adventure that really becomes a lifestyle.
Yes. And it's so family friendly. And like you said, get rid of the phones, get rid of the iPads, pull out the Uno cards or Scrabble, or we're big cribbage fans. It helps my math,
Love
but
cribbage.
I don't know that it does anymore.
Yeah.
But do something that just gets you back to the beauty that we live, because we don't realize we live here. You and I have had the fortunate blessings of traveling probably a lot of places outside of the Northwest. But if you haven't, you think, oh, this is just where I live. But when you leave some of the Northwest and you get to some places a little less pleasant, you're like, we really are lucky on what is at any corner within no time to get to where we are.
And it's economical. I mean, a lot of times when you're equipping, this is my warning to people, because it can be addictive.
Yes.
Which is good for you.
Absolutely.
And other businesses that sell this, but it becomes pretty addictive because there's so many great things that make camping even more accessible and easy. But for the amount of money you spend on like an iCamper, so you can spend $1,500 on this. But as I just said, I can't tell you how much money I've saved traveling for soccer or fast pitch, or just when we want to go away, vacation.
Yeah.
You'll save that in the first year or two easily.
Right.
And you create such better memory than sleeping in a hotel room. It's just a lot of fun.
Agreed. No, and there's so much more. The addictive part is all the accessories parts, right?
Yeah.
It's the rest of the showroom. It's our little mini REI version that we have here in Lewis County. And, from rumple blankets to jet boil cooking items. I mean, I will tell you this, my husband and I own all of those things, and we're not good about using all those things because there are too many to use. But every time we make a trip, I get hooked on like, oh, survivalism, right? I got to go and buy all this stuff to never be stuck in the woods. Now, knock on wood, I have never, one, been stuck, or two, put myself in that position. But I own all the things if I ever might get stuck.
Right.
And we sell most of them at NOMAD too, if you need them. So.
And those rumple blankets are pretty.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah. That's originally a Portland-based company, made out of recycled water bottles, and so warm. I have them on my boat. I have them in the van. We have them as just throw blankets in the house. And then we also, of course, have a set of them that go with the rooftop tent if we're going to go camping that way.
We got just a few minutes left. If I'm a family who's never really been camping before, give me your pitch for why they should go to Nomad Outfitters and at least take a look at what the possibilities of camping can be.
Well, it's really easy, Peter, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And we can help you. So bring whatever it is you drive today. Come down to the store, talk to Marissa, talk to Emily, tell them what you think you want to do, and then let them help guide you into what probably makes the most sense, right? What's your budget? Where do you want to go? How long do you want to stay in it? Those are the questions we're going to ask you as we work to figure out what do you want to spend. The internet is a great first step, right? Our website and then all of the manufacturers' websites are really, really useful tools to determining kind of what direction you want to take. But from there, we can go from mild to wild and everything in between, and it's not going to feel like hard sales, right? We just want to make it fun for you, right? Our job is to make your life more fun. We always jokingly say that we're in the business of fun because you don't really need what we're offering in most cases, which is the best part of it. Because you want it, you don't have to have it. So stop by, let us see what you want, let us see what we have, and we'll see if we can put it together.
Well, hopefully my wife doesn't listen to the show because I keep telling her I need it, and it's not a want, it's a need. So
I'll tell her the same when I see her.
There you go. Thank you, Sam Magnuson with Nomad Truck and SUV, Nomad Outfitters on Kresge. Go to nomadtruckandsuv.com. Make sure if you want to learn more about where you can go camping, you can go to parks.wa.gov. And we thank you for listening to the Let's Talk About It show. Let's Talk About It Sunday. I'm your host, Peter Abbarno. Go check it out and have fun camping.